Hello there. Bonjour, Anine, Tansy, Jerry the Big Bear here, and my brain is just so full of information now. I'm going to need an aspirin, some sort of traditional medicine to help me get through it. But we're not done yet. We have more information for you and another presentation that's very exciting, and an honor to have him join us this afternoon. And of course, I'm talking about our Deputy Grand Chief, Bobby Narcisse. Now, Bobby is an Ojibwe from the Orland First Nation, located in Treaty 9 territory. He has served as Director of Social Services at Anishinaabe Aski Nation, going into 9 years now. Good for him. As Director, Bobby oversaw social services reform, child and family services, and family well-being. Bobby has extensively worked in community leadership with many teams to many First Nation communities. He's conducting youth and family-oriented programs. You may have seen him in your community. He enjoys spending time with his 2 daughters, friends, and loved ones. He believes the best way to predict the future is to create it yourself. Please make welcome to our conference, Deputy Grand Chief Bobby Narcisse.
Hi there. Thank you for that introduction. This is Deputy Grand Chief Bobby Narcisse, coming to you from Treaty 1 territory in Winnipeg. We are currently here working with the Treaty 3 chiefs, also just basically sharing information on some of the initiatives and a lot of the priorities that we currently share, especially within education and especially with land-based education. Also earlier today, I was at the Kirk Education Conference as well, where we presented on various issues on the importance of land-based healing and land-based education programs that are currently available at the community level. And we had a good perspective of our educators that are there as well. As you know, that as your Deputy Grand Chief, I've been pushing for a NAN-specific process in terms of really, focusing on the uniqueness of our education systems, the uniqueness of our geography, the uniqueness of our languages, and the fact that, we need a specific process that really highlights those priorities. And I was successful in establishing a bilateral table with Indigenous Services Canada to have a NAN-specific process in looking at our priorities within education that is respectful of the vision of our leaders, the vision of our educators, the visions of our education directors as well. So we're looking at also emphasizing the unique role our elders play in developing our education and our curriculum in terms of moving forward. And as you know, many of our education systems, come from like a colonial-based system where, curriculum and, accreditation is developed in a foreign sense that our First Nation communities and our teachers and our educators have to follow. And that is something that's not working in many of our communities. The participants will also recognize the fact that there are, severe gaps in a lot of our resourcing in education as well. And the need where we have to really come at these with, we identify the challenges, we identify the problems. It's really important to identify solutions, community-based solutions. And we are working with our education partners. We are working with our knowledge keepers. We want to set the stage to ensure that we are there and available to really listen to many of our diverse communities that are following through with their own education and jurisdiction plans in terms of moving ahead. So we want to be there as well as, getting back to the roots of NAN, to be that advocacy voice, to be that we're there at the behest of the chiefs and also our community members in these areas because, it's been a long pathway. It's been a big pathway forward in terms of getting here and looking at the chiefs gave me the honor of being the deputy grand chief in terms of helping them to assert many of their current values and ideas on education and education jurisdiction. But it was quite the pathway here for myself. I'm from Aroland First Nation myself, and I do speak the Aroland version of Ojibwe. I know I'm told sometimes when I speak like baby talk, or we seem to cut off a lot of words. We do a lot of shortcuts, like for example, when you say big dog, you say kichi nemush, where we'd say chinnemush, or kichi makwa, like big bear. We'd say chipko. So a lot of different variation. That's what makes our community so unique all across Anishinaabe Nation. We have to celebrate that uniqueness in terms of and develop a curriculum or an education system that is reflective of that diversity. Many of our my educational journeys in land-based also came from the trap line. My grandfather was on the Cowcash River outside of Aroland, and he was able to, bring us out. And where they were situated was where my mom and my uncles and grew up in that particular area. And so it was always a treat to go back with our grandparents to the places where our parents were raised, and and it was a way of life, right? That was we didn't have too much resources or anything like that. We didn't have motorized boats or anything. We just relied on using the canoes and fish nets and whatnot. But it was a great way to really grow up, and so we did end up leaving the First Nation at an early age. We situated in Thunder Bay for most of my elementary years and whatnot. But the thing was that I missed about it is all the land-based teachings and land-based education that we got while living in Aroland First Nation. So when we moved back, I believe it was in grade 8, and so I lost a lot of my my wilderness training skills and whatnot. So when I got to high school, there was this program called Outers. It was like an outdoor wilderness education program. And so I remember signing up for Outers because I said, well, I need to gain back my my wilderness and education skills. And so when we first started our first canoe trip, everybody's saying, oh, there's a First Nation person from Aroland joining Outers. Wow, that's the first time, because it was all non-native Caucasian people that were on Outers. And so everybody was saying, hey, I want Bobby in my canoe. I want Bobby to do this, because he probably lived off the land. And so it was, so rather than look kind of stupid, I said, yeah, sure. Of course I lived off the land. Yeah, I'm native. I speak the language and all that. But still, so we set off on a canoe trip, and not even 10 yards from shore, I knew my canoe was in trouble. I started going round and round, and everybody's going, what the hell is going on with Bobby's canoe? And then, of course, when we ended up tipping over, and so it was a big eye-opening experience, and because we continue to learn, right? And everybody was saying, what kind of native are you and stuff? And I thought you were born with a paddle in your hand, or but still, at times we lose those teachings when we're not when we're not exposed to the land and all that. So after that was a big learning experience for myself. So it was kind of embarrassing, but I know that's not really a motivator, but it motivated me, that's for sure. And in terms of, starting to learn all those skills and after a while, like a couple of years within Outers, I knew a lot of the wilderness training skills, living off the land. And, we had like 24-hour solos where we would just go out. It was almost like a rite of passage, really. Like we'd go out into the bush by yourself for like 48 hours with 12 grams of food in a little bag, whatever. I tried hiding a can of Click in my bag, but my teacher searched it and they confiscated my Click. So that wasn't very good for me, but I had to learn to, snare and go ice fishing that time and stuff. So, but it was like a learning experience, and you can't, at times, you need that guidance and mentorship as well. And that's what really brought our elders and our community members to really assist in that regard to provide those opportunities. And like I said, my family was fairly poor. We were on my dad was on seasonal labor, and so Airland, where I grew up, was not the new Airland that you see now. The place where I grew up was actually like a bunch of shacks and no running water, and you had to go to the river to get your water, and chop wood every day, and use the old slop pail, and it's kind of gross. I'm sitting in a restaurant, but anyways, that's besides the point. But so all those things that we thought was normal, we thought that's, although like society considered us poor, when I was growing up there, I considered myself rich because we had our uncles, aunts, grandparents, everybody pulling together to help out each other and whatnot. And going on in the land was a very important part of our upbringing, and that's where we need to really. I hear of a lot of great initiatives that are happening currently too in our communities with getting land-based education. Creating a curriculum that is reflective of the needs of our communities and our First Nation children, youth, and families. I recall that, we just did it. Like, we just, sometimes we didn't wait for a grant or it was just a way of life. And it was more or less also survival as well. It's the only thing we ever knew. But now, as we evolved, I think those early years really transformed, especially my view in terms of wanting things to be community based. And I think that really took off in my early years or my teenage years, where we were involved in a lot of youth leadership camps and youth leadership groups. We'd organize things in our community that would, be really strength-based and looking at ways to involve all sectors of youth and all that. So we were able to use those teachings in terms of land-based activities to reach out into other communities, motivate and encourage other youth, like within NAN and all across Northwestern Ontario, to look at ways to involve youth in community-based, land-based leadership activities. And so like those were early building stages for a lot of the work that is coming, that was yet to come. And the perpetuation of discrimination against our education systems have been prolonged. It's been going on for too many decades. We see the effects of the residential school system, day schools, 60 Scoop, child and family services and whatnot. And so I know that there's been some inroads in terms of communities doing a lot of work in terms of finding community-based solutions, but those investments still need to be continued, and also more investments need to be made in that regard to look at these particular areas too. So I know this was, I have a hard time talking about myself at times, but I know this is supposed to be my journey and stuff, but just a few things as well, like just to help out and stuff. Like it's always, not taking no for an answer, basically, like finding other options or other opportunities as well, encouraging youth to look outside their box, looking outside their current reality. I think is basically what we're trying to say here is even ideas, really encouraging different ideas for our students in gaining experience and moving ahead. I know, like even we, I always wanted to travel. We knew that there was like life outside the First Nation community, but so I know, like after like high school, I was able to go to Venezuela for an exchange program. So I looked already Mexican, so I fit right in over there, and I just had to speak the language. And I found like the best way to immerse yourself in the language is to be in the culture. And so it was very interesting. I was able to learn Spanish within a month or so. And I think that's one of the ways where I think we could bring back the languages. We just have to, force ourselves to speak it. And, I think there's some innovative opportunities within our schools that encourage that Anishinaabe Moan, like making the environment just to speak in your language and moving ahead. I always try to do that in my opening statements at times. And so even the translators at times can't understand me because my Ojibwe is a little bit off the wall. But I enjoy going back home every now and then and just at times sitting in the band office and hearing people speak Anishinaabe Moan and get a good kick out of it. And there's a lot of jokes seem funnier in the language. At times when you're trying to explain it, get lost in translation. And I try to explain a joke to my non-native friends, and they're just looking at it. That's not really funny, Bob. But you have to, in the language, it is funny. So, it's just like opportunities like that. We did a lot of community development within Venezuela and, working with communities. And I found that like many of these communities that we worked with, these villages were far, in our description or vocabulary of poverty, were more poor than my reserve in Airland. But the idea of the human spirit as well really captured my attention. Like even in the face of such poverty, the people that we work with in those villages were one of the most happiest people. They didn't know they were poor. It was our first world ideology that describes people as poor, but they were rich. They were rich in working with their families. They were rich in the facts that they had in their friendships and in their caring for everyone in their communities, and everybody pitched in together in terms of like what I saw. Like if somebody was mnese or that they didn't have enough food, like they would help that family, and then everybody had this it was a work to survive sort of thing, and they lived off the land as well. Like walk around in the jungles and everything. I even had my Indiana Jones hat on and stuff at a few times, and just working with the indigenous people was a very eye-opening experience. And our cultures are so diverse. Even the indigenous people in South America, as to our indigenous people here in our territories, there's so much wonder. There's so much, so much things to celebrate. And, like the effects of residential school and whatnot, and our colonial school systems that really dampen the perception and the beauty of our culture and our languages. I think we need to really retain that. And I think, other cultures could also, in the third world or development, could teach us a little something, to go back to, our land-based way of life, healing and education. And so that really, I really learned a lot in my early formative years, doing a lot of international development work, especially within South America and Venezuela. And so funny too, like South Americans or Venezuelans at that time, they always like hug and really hug and they kiss, and and whatnot, and they're very touchy feely and stuff. And so I began to adopt that as well, like it's hugging, kissing on the cheek and all that stuff. So I came home back to Airland, and we're hugging my friends and kissing them. And they're, hey, what are you doing? Get out of here and stuff. And so, but that was the thing. Like it was, you learn a lot from, going outside your own comfort zones, and or even going back to where you're coming from, and adding to your own personal experience in that regard as well. So like after Canada World Youth, I was able to go to Lakehead University and study political studies. So yes, I'm using my political studies now as a politician, and I think it's paid some dividends and staying in school and whatnot. And I met my cousin Aaron at a breakfast place one morning, and in university we took an OG Cree class, and so we had to do, we're Ojibwe, so we were learning OG Cree, so some of the terms are pretty similar and different within OG Cree. So we had to do the skit in terms of where we were sitting together at a dinner table such as this. And so we were saying that like Bitoon, give me the fork, or give me the knife, or Bitoon Mukaman. And I would say, so fork in OG Cree is G-Stegen. But in Ojibwe, in my Ojibwe, G-Stegen means a broom. A broom, you wipe the floors and all that. So I'm there, like Aaron's telling me, like, Bitoon Mukaman. So I give him the knife and I go, Bitoon G-Stegen. And then he goes to me, I'm just doing G-Stegen, Greece Nimensha. Means, what the hell do you need a broom for at the dinner table? We're eating here. So I don't know, we had a lot of good times and laughs and everything. But it's just the wonder and diversity of our languages, and like each of our communities is diverse in terms of some of those terms as well. So needless to say, that Ojibwe class, I think Aaron and I both got 99% on it. So that really helped my grade point average. So I don't know if it's a good suggestion. Take Ojibwe or OG Cree to bring up your grade point average. No, okay. But no, it was quite the learning experience through post-secondary. And I know that our systems as well, like still, I know that many of our students are underfunded, and that's something that we want to change as well. I know we focus on K-12 a lot, but the thing is, we need to really focus on our post-secondary education as well, and determining various factors as well that need to be taken into consideration when our students are, finished grade 12 and, moving on to higher education. Had the opportunity of speaking to the Dennis Franklin Carty grads yesterday, and it was great to see them, and all the hope in their eyes and a lot of dreams, and like they're all eager to start the next phase of their lives and whatnot. And I think it is our job as as leaders, and also you as educators as well, to continue that support and help for our community youth that are pursuing post-secondary education as well. And, involving, like a lot of opportunities for our post-secondary students to also engage in land-based activities as well, to be used for their mental well-being in moving ahead too. So I really cherish a lot of those opportunities, especially at Lakehead University and also at Con College too. I'm sure there's other sites across Ontario too that do have a strong First Nations support mechanism that involves land-based healing and access to land-based education as well. So upon finishing university, I still had the international travel bug as well. So I applied at the Native Law Center at the University of Saskatchewan, and I was offered an international internship to New Zealand. So I was able to work with the Maori Indigenous people for a year. That was back in 97 after I finished university, so 97, 98. So I was there for a year, and it was a very trying time as well, because that was the year my mother took ill. And when I left for New Zealand is when she was admitted to hospital. And there was times where I wanted to come home, but she mentioned, like, live your life, go out there. I didn't have an opportunity to do this when I was your age. So go out there, and like, I'm living through you, and I'm so happy that you're doing this. And so it was one of the teachings of my parents as well, like, to have that support mechanism in place to really, we need to encourage our students. We need to encourage our children to really go explore what is out there. And, although I want to come home and, be with my mom and everything, she just encouraged me to learn as much as I can. And I did, and I stayed, and I worked with the Maori, and looking at a comprehensive analysis of their education system and funding in relation to a lot of the education systems that are within Anishinaabe, Aski Nation, and across First Nations across. I'm given 5 minutes here, so I have to talk at the Treaty 3 Chiefs Assembly. But so those are big learning curves, and I really love the Maori culture, and it's so funny how they welcome you is like they welcome you in song. They sing and whatnot, and as a visitor, you're supposed to sing as well. So of course, I had to do some Elvis songs there, like "Don't Be Cruel" or whatever. But I wanted to also showcase something Canadian, so I didn't know anything Canadian. And I ended up singing Stompin' Tom Connor's "The Hockey Song." Hello out there, we're on the air, it's hockey night tonight. Anyway, so I was able to do that. But I was kind of, I was kind of amiss that I want to share a little bit more of my culture. Although I found my culture, to be living and working off the land and all that. But in terms of music, I really wanted to, like sing maybe like a drumming song or powwow song or something like that. So afterwards, when I got back from New Zealand, I got a job at Anishinaabe Education Council. I was an education counselor for Churchill High School, and we were able to work with our students. Before DFC, they went to Thunder Bay High Schools, and we were able to provide supports to the students that were there. It was very interesting too, like at the time, because we didn't have much of a dropout rate. Many of our students shared classrooms. There were very multicultural classrooms as well, but we were there to offer cultural support, and also tutoring and special education supports as well. So we were able to take our students out on the land on various canoe trips and land-based activities in the wintertime and whatnot. So we found that our students really excelled when they had access to those land-based education opportunities. Because, as educators, and, our students had to leave like 9 months of the year to further their education. And, some of them were just like 12, 13 years old. Like I don't know. I have a 14-year-old myself. I don't think I could send my daughter that far for so long of time. But so we did our part in terms of providing those opportunities for land-based. So we found it was very beneficial to working with them as well. So and then the Dennis Franklin Camardi School happened, and I basically moved my desk, my little box across the field, and I was at Dennis Franklin Camardi High School, and where I was the recreation coordinator. So I coached all the sports. I basically was paid to play with the students, and it was great, coaching hockey and broomball and whatever, curling, but also taking them on land-based activities, involving our elders, bringing community elders to the school as well, to ensure that our students continue to have that land-based that work and stuff. One story kind of I have to tell too is this one spring we took the students on this canoe trip, and we sent out some of our friends to scope out this river. And so they said, okay, it's fine. Like, I said, I don't want no rapids. I want nothing. I just want a nice, easy, paddling thing. So like we did a lot of wilderness first aid. We did what happens if you capsize. So we did a lot of training, and so it was great. So we had to do that before we went on any trip. We have to make sure that, we do safety and what happens if you're trapped alone or all those different things. So, long story short, we're going on this canoe trip. There's 8 canoes. And then apparently there's a snowstorm or a rainstorm just a few days before. So the river turned out to be like 2 feet higher. And so we started off, and I immediately found, wow, this river is pretty wild and stuff. And, we're going down, and so we're going around this corner really fast. And we saw that the river was just rolling water in front of us, and it's holy smokes. And all of a sudden we're coming around this corner, and there's this tree that's called a sweeper, and it's right above the water, and we're coming around the corner, and it took out probably 6 of our canoes. In terms of the kids capsized and whatnot. So, we were able to get into a mode where, all right, let's get our emergency preparedness. And good thing we told them how to pack their pack sacks, so everything was still dry and whatnot. So, so the canoes, the 4 canoes, they went down the river. So we had the other canoes there. So, we had a number of students on one side of the riverbank, one side on this bank, and so it was very interesting to see the teaching work, or at play, not work, but they were living the teaching experiences. They were, looking at their bags, and they're getting their waterproof matches, and they're making a fire, and they're, taking stock of all the food and tents and whatever. And meanwhile, I was about to, lose it because, I'm the staffer here, and these are, these students are in my care. But at the same time too, we just watching them in those emergency environments and stuff. It's so key that even within land-based areas, you have to be safe, and you have to give them the tools as well to really live in a wilderness environment. So after all was said and done, after that one canoe trip, I was just relieved. Everybody performed well, and all the students were able to harness the teachings that they had in moving ahead. And then the students are saying, wow, that was the best canoe trip ever. And meanwhile, I just had a bunch of gray hair from the whole experience and stuff. And saying, can we do this again? If we go, not on that river, no way. Next time, we're going to go to a pond. We're going to go to, Boulevard Lake or something. We'll canoe around there, and we'll, But so there was some of the opportunities I had to work with students, and it's been a great experience, and it's really helped me too in my current work right now in terms of as Deputy Grand Chief and working with our education partners and looking at ways to really involve land-based education. I'm so proud of the fact that I was part of the technical team that helped deliver create the Choose Life program. So we were there designing it, and we wanted to make sure that it was community based, and that the funding wouldn't flow through NAN or anything. It would go straight to the community, and the community would develop those land based healing opportunities. So it was that was some of the milestones I've seen in my work, in our work. I had a great team. I had our chiefs leading the way as well, and I was very fortunate to be part of a team such as that to help realize many of these unique goals and aspirations from our community members. So and also with band rep and all the prevention dollars going straight to the communities, the family well-being, and So all these different tools. When you hear people say, "Well, what does NAN do? Like, what's NAN there for anyway?" Well, like, do you enjoy the Choose Life program? Do you access the family well-being? Do you have the band rep program? Do you have all these different areas? You know, these are mandated by our chiefs, and this is the job that we want to continue to do and help out as well. Like, you know, we're not looking for thanks or anything. It's just, I think the thanks is in the fact that, you know, communities are doing their thing. And I think the collaboration that happens, you know, community members, our leadership working with our tribal councils and with NAN and stuff, we need to coordinate our activities better. You know, we can't no longer work in silos and like education's over here, health's over there, socials there, lands and resources are there. You know what I mean? Like, our communities are missing out, and our communities, you know, our children, youth, and families deserve more. And by really, you know, maximizing the full resources and tearing down the silos about these various initiatives, I think, you know, it's an opportunity where our communities could really work together and collaborate on various positive initiatives. But the work doesn't stop there. We know there's a lot more to do. There's a lot of different social issues that we need to combat, and you know, land-based healing and education is an integral part, but I know we have to do more. You know, our communities need mental health supports. There's a lot of addictions that are still out there as well. And I know NAN, our tribal councils, and our leadership have to do better in terms of communicating what is out there in terms of resourcing and moving ahead. So I didn't really want to talk too much about myself, but there's a little glimpse of my journey as well. Yeah, my journey as an imposter, as an impersonator. Well, that's another story. Like, I still do the Elvis shows and whatnot, and that's another thing. That's where we celebrate our, you know, like we need to also celebrate a lot of the our artists and our you know, like painters. You know, like using also land-based opportunities where they could hone in a lot of their crafts and everything. And because, you know, we go to many trade shows, or we see online a lot of these different crafts and art that are produced by our children, youth, and families, you know, from living and learning from the land. You know, like we need to also really encourage that and celebrate that in our schools and in our curriculum as well. And those that sing songs of the stories of our people, you know, maybe I should do that too. I just sing Elvis songs, but that's not the point. We need to really encourage our students and whatnot in all these different initiatives as well. But I wish I could stay a little bit longer. I know I'll be doing closing remarks in a little bit, but I just want to say thank you, everyone, for participating in this forum the past couple of days. And I know it's virtual. We want to get together. I want to get together with everyone in terms of having everybody in the same area, having it live and all that. But we hope that you are continuing to be safe. And, you know, I applaud you working with our students, our children, our families. You know, I acknowledge the elders as well, our knowledge keepers that continue to, we really need to preserve them and support them as well in this very important work. So, but with that, I'm told I have to go say some words to the Treaty 3 chiefs. But I found this was more important. I want to talk to everyone here in terms of the importance of community-based education, you know, being out in the land to really harness that experience among our children, youth, and families. So with that, I look forward to meeting and talking to you all. Please contact me or my office anytime you have questions on a lot of the initiatives that were happening. If you want us to come and visit your community as well, we're very open to doing that as well. So with that, I'll turn back over and to your MC, and I wish you a good rest of the afternoon. I should be by shortly for some closing remarks. So, okay, I gotta go.
Oh, there's Ojibwe Elvis there. That's what I look like when I'm all gussied up.
Right there. That's awesome.
We'll have to go on tour again. All right. Thank you very much, Deputy Grand Chief. Bobby.
Go ahead.
Some, again, sharing of personal stories, personal journeys. And we have learned so much and shared so much information about people's different, experiences with their family, their traditions, their people's history, and how all that is applied to today's land-based learning and what our youth and students are bringing to the classroom, and the knowledge that they have to share with us. So it's pretty deep. We've covered so much territory here. So I'm glad that the educators and teachers that are logged on here are taking notes, and some of it's fun. There's a lot of energy here and a lot of positive stories. So I'm glad that you were able to stick through all our presentations and sessions and soak in what you can. And remember, it's all been recorded, so you'll be able to review some of the sessions if you missed them. All right, we have another play to win word coming up on your screen. And this time, just like Deputy Grand Chief, leadership. Leadership is our play to win code word for this session. Leadership. Write that down. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then our closing ceremonies and closing prayer will get underway about 4 o'clock, and we look forward to seeing you then. Miigwech.